Let's just move on to our next topic. I'd love to talk. I could go on and on about how much I love New York and how it's like the greatest city in the world and all the stuff that's going to come back. This would be, as you had mentioned before, we could have a whole nother discussion about this stuff. But let's go on to indexing and following the financial markets for Mott Haven Capital. So I love the stock market. I think even though people have their opinions in regards to like how it's manipulated and everything like that, everybody's going to say this, that, and the other thing. And in regards to growing your wealth from a retirement account standpoint, 401k, I have a Roth IRA personally. What's it called? All connected to the market. And also what's become very popular is indexes. So tell us about some of the indexes that you're investing in with Mott Haven Capital. I got a lot to say on indexes. I think they're the greatest financial vehicle that's, I don't know, ever been invented. So, you know.
Yeah. So I will say like indexes usually are, and for our viewers, people who aren't as familiar, they're usually used in two different ways. You can have actual indexes that, track broader trends or sections of the economy, whether that's like an industry or that's activity in the economy, like the consumer price index, how, about how much do goods cost, what are we able to buy? And you also have indexes in the stock market that really either do the same thing, they track something, or they give you an insight into what's happening in an area, but they do so by packaging stocks together. So I tend to use index for more of the first purpose.
All right.
Tracking what's going on. And part of the portfolio at Mott Haven Capital Partners, we do invest in some of the indexes that track the overall market, but we limit that to no more than 20% of the portfolio. And I'll tell you, that's mostly because indexes are really for people who have a particular goal and a threshold. If you believe, like very strongly, that you cannot know where the market's going at all, and you don't want to limit yourself to one sector, two sectors, three sectors, if you want that broad approach, and you also feel like the market, knows better than any one of us, that's very valid, and that's one kind of goal. And for that reason, we invest partially in that direction. But there is a downside or a risk where if you do know some of the factors, some of the sectors that are going to be a part of the future, and you don't want to limit yourself to what the general market is doing, then investing everything in the index, I mean, you're kind of leaving something on the table.
I agree. I completely agree that you're always leaving something on the table when you're passively investing in like an index. A lot of time when people invest in index funds or something like that, they don't know what's in the basket. It's like they have no idea what's in the basket. That happens very frequently. In regards to tracking specific sectors of the market, I think that this actually isn't my opinion. This is Warren Buffett's opinion. He says that the best thing that you can invest your money in right now is an exchange-traded fund, specifically three: SPY, VOO, or IVV. They track the S&P 500. I'm just going to pull up one just because we got it here.
Also, just to add in, depending on your strategy, some people are, they're really active, violent short sellers, pouncing on the next drop, and sometimes they can even influence what drops.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's that sentiment.
Absolutely. I love watching this particular one because you can just see this is March, obviously, but you can just see the growth. It never goes down if you take it on a max. And the reason that I'm a big fan of anything that tracks the S&P 500 is because the S&P 500, they always change out the companies. And believe it or not, the average lifespan of an S&P 500 company is only 25 years, which I was kind of surprised. So they are replacing companies very, very frequently. I just think you can't lose on this.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that anything that's tracking the S&P 500 is just very, very hard to lose. You had mentioned that the indexes really only encompass 20% of your fund. What does the other 80% encompass?
Yeah. So when you think of funds, investment funds, like ETFs that focus on a certain sector, mutual funds that package together different stocks. You can have passive, management or active management. The SPY, VOO, all these indexes that track the whole market, that is really good again for what your goals are. If you want something that is very passive, that doesn't really require any thought, that will generally be okay or will pretty much always be okay, then yeah, that's great. That's great. With the fund, and there is a choice. There is some risk with any investing in any stocks, but we kind of create our own index by packaging and diversifying, doing the 100 hours of research every month, by doing the due diligence, putting it together. In a way, we're creating our own index fund for what's happening in the Bronx.
Excellent. So that's so what specific sectors for this, like in the Bronx, obviously, what specific sectors, what industries are in your index then?
Yeah. So we're very bullish on industrials. Very, very good on technology, especially semiconductors, hardware components, and all of the 5G.
Semiconductors.
Yeah, it's been wonderful in the last few years. Also, infrastructure, specifically energy and transportation, just what creates our grid, what moves us, what powers us. Also looking at healthcare, especially since, in the Bronx, even before the pandemic, there were already so many needs with getting medicine out to inner city communities and rural communities too. So now we see COVID really multiplied that. And everything that we choose, each of those four sectors, in addition to the general index, those are all based on how the Bronx has developed, from the industrial beginnings to looking at how the healthcare needs are still really present, to looking at the infrastructure and the technology, the future of the Bronx, what the Bronx can become. Also, I do follow, a few indexes more for tracking what happens in the economy. I really, in addition to the general, SPY and VOO, I love the IPO Renaissance index.
IPO Renaissance, and I'm going to pull this.
Yeah, it's.
Do you know what the ticker is, or I'm just IPO Renaissance?
Yeah,
ETF.
Yeah. And in general, I'm not a big fan in investing in ETFs, partially because...
I'll find this later.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up later. But continue.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, ETFs for the same reason I don't want to pile everything in index funds. Because you have a broad average, there's just too much, pulling down, too much weight. An ETF that's focused on a certain sector... and I love Play, for example. Play is another ETF. It tries to index the stay-at-home economy.
Interesting.
A lot of video games, a lot of delivery companies' food.
I love the economy.
We're living it now, right? I mean, I love these things. I wouldn't follow them.
Yeah, I'm going to look this up later.
Yeah, no, I love these, to learn and to study. But also, it's important to disclose. You need to have, as any investor needs to have, a very clear idea of their goals.
Absolutely.
I have personally 5 different accounts just for different goals. I have a dividend, super long-term, retirement account. Yeah, you feel it. A speculative account for startups.
5 different banks or something like that.
Diversified.
5 different banks. It's the beauty. We're talking about diversifying in regards to banks.
Yeah. And
I try to explain this to my mom. Because of the cell phone, you can do all your banking on your phone instantaneously. So you can if your accounts are already connected, you can move money from one account to the other just on your phone, just through an app.
Right.
And that concept is it's unheard of to a lot of people in the older generation, because they used to have to go deposit this at a bank and blah, 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 wait for it to clear and so forth and so on. And it was beneficial to be at one bank. Now it's beneficial to diversify.
Right.
And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's absolutely beautiful because I don't know what I use many different applications. My personal favorite, and I recommend this to everybody just because I think their tech is the best. I think Chase has the best technology when it comes to like banking on your phone and everything like that. Yeah. I've been with Chase for a long time. Okay, so moving on, where are you guys investing in the future? Where does Mott Haven Capital Partners, what is the future investment that you see, or what's like the next big thing? You mentioned 5G, but that's just, we already got the phone. So what's the next big thing?
Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking very long term, like outside of the Bronx, not just the Bronx, definitely AI is going to be really big.
AI.
There's a really high barrier to entry in the industry. When we talk about jobs and looking to see where we can position ourselves for the future, everyone knows like tech is a part of the future.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between tech that is part of a product and tech that is the product. If you're paying someone to build out a software, like an algorithm to code for like a matchmaking service, or to code for like a food company, like DoorDash, coding to help people order and deliver. Those involve tech, but that's not necessarily the heart of the tech industry. Now, if you're looking at a place like Da Vinci Robotics, they have a robotic surgery system.
That's what when you mentioned it said Da Vinci, that's what I was thinking. The robotics service.
Right. Yeah. But like, imagine not needing to have doctors, not needing to pay doctors, not needing medical school. That is paying specifically for a robot or for an algorithm or a type of algorithm that can be used in different places. So that is really one of the hearts of tech, like AI, artificial intelligence.
Do you think that artificial intelligence and tech, this is a little bit off on a tangent, will take away jobs, or do you think that we need to train the workforce to have these new jobs to work with the technology?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. When we're going to have people who need to work, or who want to work, so we might as well be positioning them for the future. But overall, when you look at the net gain and loss of employment, if we're doing tech right, then yeah, we should have fewer jobs because it becomes easier to do all these complicated tasks. So yes, jobs will definitely be lost.
Okay, that's a concern with. It's a concern with me from an overall base. I'm a salesperson, so like I'd like to think that I'm never going to be put out of business, even though you can buy homes, like Alexa can buy you a home or something like that.
Yeah.
Making that up, but like you can buy it. There's something called Redfin where you can literally like buy a home sight unseen and everything like that.
Luke, there's a startup, Luke, Text Luke. It's really
Text Luke.
Yeah, it's called Text Luke.
Interesting.
Like you text this robot. I tried it out, looking for property, and it has an AI, algorithm where this guy, he pretends to be a person. He makes jokes. He like, I'm a robot. He knows, he's a robot, but he'll ask you questions and try to find your perfect home. And already we see property technology. It's booming. So you're going to have AI in all these sectors, like finding a home, going to the grocery store. All these things are going to become automated.
Yeah, I'm a big user of prop tech. There's a lot of systems that are now available to realtors that were never available before. And if you're good with the technology, it's like light years beyond your competition. I mean, it's like trying to explain how to do, like I do everything from my phone now. It's just so easy to do. Like prop tech is really taking over. Yeah, we had fintech, and that put a lot of people out of jobs. You'll see prop tech's going to put a lot of me out of jobs. But
the relationship is where it really matters, and knowing your market.
Know your market.
Can't know everything.
No, that's true. That's true. And the other thing that I'd like to think, everybody sells a niche product. I'd like to think that I sell a niche product, being industrial real estate, and leasing very particular types of spaces and everything like that. And I'd like to think that I'm doing something that a computer can't do.
Yeah.
And that is describing something to a customer because you can even send videos and pictures, but it doesn't sell it the same way. You got to sell it. You got to say, you got to come here and check this out. I just don't think computers can do that yet. Soon, like, 20 years from now, we're going to have robot salespeople. Like robot salespeople hitting the phones. So